The Diablo 4 Season 8 public test realm is live. We spent a bunch of time on that yesterday. I'm going to go over my leveling process from 1 to 60, how much they increased it by, the difficulty that was increased, the loot drops, and more. I have a feeling you're going to be a little bit surprised. I have this Sheets document set up here for everybody. I'm going to keep this updated as we go through the public test realm. I will put all the information in here, the good, the bad, whatever I find, the fun stuff. It will all be available. It'll be in the description of this video here. We're going to start with the leveling process. This is something that a lot of people have been a little concerned about because Blizzard did say at the last campfire chat that they're going to slow the process down a little bit. But how much did they slow it down? I don't think you really need to worry about. If this is what happens when the public servers go live in Season 8, it is not a whole lot slower. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you will know that I am not a hardcore pusher. I just kind of go out and I do exactly what I want, whatever I feel like doing. We don't push pit 150 very often. We just have a lot of fun playing the game. That's exactly what I did when I approached the season. I put a timer up, and then I just went out and I played like I normally would be playing. I didn't treat it as if I needed to race to level 60 to feel what it was going to be like and see how fast I could get there. I wanted to see if I was anybody that was out there playing, that was just out there having fun, exploring the season, finding new things, how long it would take. What happened? And I accidentally restarted the timer, but everybody got to see the VOD. We saved it. So the VODs are going to be linked down here for you if you want to see the whole process. They're a little long, but they're there if you want to speed through them a little bit and kind of see how I went about it, what I did, and exactly what it looked like. Level 1 to level 42 took me 4 hours and 27 minutes. That's really not bad at all. Then we went from level 42 to level 60 in 4 hours and 42 minutes. Now again, all we did was just bounce around from thing to thing. I tested things for people. People were asking questions. So there was a lot of time that if you're just going to be sitting there and you want to level really, really fast, that total time will probably be around 7 hours, maybe 7.5 hours. If you were a grinder and you were prepared to just hit the ground running, and who knows, you probably can do it a lot faster than that too. So that means the leveling process itself has not slowed down a ton at all. It did feel different though, and actually it felt really good. I wasn't sure how the itemization was going to go, which we'll cover in just a little bit. What I did as I was testing, from level 1 to level 35, I bounced around a little bit. I did Helltides, I did some Whispers, and then I did some Incursions. Now, looking back and getting to test this, I probably would have just gone straight through the Incursions because some of the boss powers will actually set you up for success later on. Some of them are really, really good, and I had some fun moments discovering exactly how good they were. 1 to 35, definitely spend some time inside the Incursions. Helltides is always going to be great. Good chances for loot. Goblins, the new goblins that were inside of the season were actually incredibly helpful. I found gear, I found material, and then I also ran into a gold goblin that gave me 400,000 gold, which set me up and allowed me to temper as soon as I wanted to. The material goblins allowed me to continually just retemper as I went. I never had to worry about materials. I never had to stop myself from doing whatever I wanted to upgrade my gear. I put on aspects when I wanted to. I put on tempers when I wanted to. The goblins were a great addition to the leveling process. I got my first Nightmare Dungeon key to drop at level 35, so then we went and did a bunch of Nightmare Dungeons to test it out. The leveling felt all right inside of the Nightmare Dungeons. So using Nightmare Dungeons to go from about level 35 up to level 45, which I forgot to do, to go into your strongholds, is probably going to be the best way to do it. The Nightmare Dungeons will give you a lot of materials, it's pretty focused, and don't skip the cursed chests and the shrines. Those shrines and those cursed chests give you a ton of experience. And with the right boss powers and the right setup, you can melt the entire spawn. As soon as they spawn, it just dies. I got through wave after wave after wave after wave and just watched the experience bar just grow. So don't skip out on them. They're very, very good for the leveling process. Something that you can go back and watch in the VOD is do skip the Blood Maiden. Now, the reason that I say this, unless you have a big group of people that have some pretty decent builds or you found some really strong boss powers, she is very strong in the beginning. Now, if you do find yourself Sinrat's Flame and you have a character that can fortify, you probably can kill her. But it is slow. She hits very, very hard early on, especially if you don't have the resistances. So it took me a long time. I wanted to test out how much I could kill her and how fast I could kill her, and I did die over and over and over, which wasted some time in the leveling process, but I had a ton of fun doing it. So that's something you can avoid if you don't want to make the same mistake that I did. Something that you do want to do early on is make sure you get as many boss powers as you can to fit your character. The Incursions were really good for getting boss powers. You can start doing them as soon as you hit the ground running. So you can look for them on your map. They're going to be this right here. You're just going to run straight there. You can find a party if you want to. You can list the party if you want to, just right from clicking on the incursion itself. You're going to hunt for eyes. You're going to kill bosses. You're going to kill monsters in order to spawn the bosses. They have a random chance of getting 2 different bosses out of a pool of 10. They're going to give you the boss powers. Now, the ones that I found that were super beneficial, that will absolutely make your leveling process easier, and I'm speaking from a barbarian standpoint right now, one of these boss powers will make it easy for every class, and then the other one, you're going to have to kind of fit it in. There will be a couple classes that can use this. I'm talking about Sinrat's Flame. Using a mobility skill burns close enemies for burning damage over 4 seconds. Now, I was running Lunging Strike from the very beginning. I was hunting for a Mani rune because I wanted to use it with Earthquakes combined, because that's a really, really great technique for leveling. Lunging Strike is a mobility skill. You pair the Mani rune, which Mani gives your mobility skills after you cast 2 of them. It procs up to 50 offerings. So you pair that with your Tech rune. Now, while I was leveling, I got this power and I was reading it. And in my planner, for the build that I was going to use when I hit level 60, I actually had Sinrat's Flame, but I had it set as a modifier. While I was leveling, I got the power. I was like, oh, cool, I got it. I got the one I wanted. And I was reading through it. Mobility skill. I'm using my Lunging Strike already. I put it on, and whoa, it was really fun. It does this big burst of AoE fire damage that does a lot of damage to monsters around you. The burning damage is incredibly strong, so I immediately started leveling up and using that ability. Something else that I had in my planner that I had planned on using, but I didn't realize how good it was going to be, was Blackmailer's Sabotage. Whenever you gain Fortify, additionally gain 20% as a barrier. So whatever you gain as Fortify, which barbarians fortify a lot, every class will be able to fortify if you have the expansion pack by using Rahir. This gave me a barrier 100% of the time. It never fell off, no matter what hit me, no matter what it was. So if you get Blackmailer Sabotage, right as soon as you start the leveling process, you pretty much will be invincible if you can fortify yourself. And this comes from the apparitions inside of the new incursions. So you don't have to wait until you get to the Torment tiers. You can get it as soon as you get out there. So that's why it's really, really important to get in there and make sure that you get some of these boss powers, because they are very, very strong. Now let's talk about everybody's favorite thing to talk about, the loot. From level 1 to level 10, the only thing that I found was blue gear. Once I hit level 10, I wanted to start tempering. It was when the first yellow piece of gear started to drop, and they started to drop immediately. So it was a really good pacing. As soon as I wanted to temper, that's when I started getting the gear that would allow me to temper. You can only temper yellow gear or higher. You can't temper any blue gear. So as soon as I started to get the yellow gear, I started salvaging it. We started getting a bunch of the materials from opening the chests and Helltides. We were able to basically temper whenever I wanted to. And that was very often because I like to have my character set up. So I constantly temper whenever I go back into town. As I was running around the open world, I ran into a goblin. I killed the goblin. I got my very first legendary at level 16. Now that sounds early because they said that they were going to push back the way that that happened. And they did. They definitely made it a little bit slower. It wasn't a loot pinata of legendary gear, but it did not feel terrible. By the time I hit level 26, I had 3 legendaries equipped. And then by the time I hit 42, I was completely full on legendaries, which felt like a really, really great time to get there. Level 1 to 10, because you don't have any movement speed, feels very slow. Once you start getting the yellow gear, you get some more movement speed. You find stuff on your amulets or on your boots. You can temper a little bit. Then you start to speed up the process a little bit. It starts to feel a little bit better. Then you start adding your legendary gear and things just start to die very, very quickly. I never really felt like we were killing things slowly, but I did notice a very big difference once we got to the later section, which is why I said that doing some of the nightmare dungeons early on to get the aspects that you know you're going to need for your characters really will help the end of your leveling process. Now, as soon as I hit level 60, I went, and you guys can go back into the VOD and watch it. It's going to be in the second one. I went on, I put on some of the aspects that I wanted. I threw some temperings on to the gear that I had. I didn't even go out and find a full set of legendary gear. I went straight into the pits and I cleared pit 10, which is opening up Torment 1. I immediately went through and the first monster that I hit, I was like, okay, we got this, nice and easy. It was not as hard as people have it in their head that it's going to be. After I went into Torment 1, I went straight to Helltides. We completed Helltides. We did 1 Whisper Cache. I opened up the chests in Helltides. Then I put on a full set of level 750 gear, which you guys saw in game. And then I went straight to Torment 2. So in day 1, we were able to get straight into Torment 2 with just the gear that we found. It was a brand new character. It definitely did not feel like a struggle. It did not feel like I was wasting any time. It didn't feel like I'm not going to be able to progress in the game. It was a very, very fun, very good leveling process. Now, I know that there are a lot of people out there that want to see different things. They want to see new content. They want to see a change to leveling process or a change to end game. That's all very subjective to how you like and how you view gaming. So right now, with the way that it sits, it is definitely not a slog. It's definitely faster than it was in Season 6. We'll see exactly what happens when the servers go live. I haven't even hopped into the boss ladder, and I'm going to try that out today, so we'll be able to get there. I did go kill Varshan when I first hit level 60. It didn't feel all too bad. I was able to just walk in, summon him. I didn't have any mats to get the loot, but that was actually kind of fun because I was able to still complete a Whisper for killing Varshan. And I was able to test out to see if I could kill him without spending the mats, because I was not sure if I was going to be able to. And it got a little dicey, but I was still able to do it. So that change to the bosses was very fun and very rewarding because I felt like, okay, I can actually go test my character. I can feel how it feels right now in the current state. If you're out there playing the public test round, the most important thing you can do is get this feedback to the developers and any feedback that you want to see. Go to the forums. It's going to be on the forums. There's a whole thread that's going to be there for feedback. Use that as an outlet. Sometimes I know that it can feel like they're not listening, but I promise you they are. The feedback that we're giving is going to make an impact later on in the future of the game. I'm going to keep testing over the next couple days, so if you want to stop by and see what's going on, definitely hit me up. I am live on 5 different platforms. I would love for you to come by and say hi. I'm live every night. I'd love it if you stopped by, said hi, theory crafted with me. Catch you on the clip side.